Okay. So I welcome you all for today evening session. And today is the last topic about the geriatric rehabilitation, and where it is one of the major topics where we need to understand the research and the emerging trends in the geriatric rehabilitation. So why is research important? Can anybody tell me?
Ma'am,
Why is
the
yeah.
more newer evidence comes out, we are supposed to keep ourselves updated with the latest guidelines and everything.
Perfect. Anything else? Research. Matlab we are again searching the same thing for the updated guidelines or something which is coming new on day-to-day basis. So whenever you are doing any research about any topic, it's not regarding geriatric. We are learning something. After some time, we need to unlearn that. And then while researching, you need to relearn that. Okay. Please understand you can't always keep learning, and not unlearning. So if you're seeing any trend or you're taking one guideline, you need to forget the old guideline to get updated to the new guideline. So learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay. So today in this topic, we are going to understand current research findings, innovative treatments and technology, future directions in geriatric care, and discussion. So this is about basically, we are going to understand about different researches. So I've taken 5 major articles where I'm going to discuss about the recent imaging trends in the geriatric rehabilitation in different population. We are going to understand the innovative treatments and the technology and what future scope is there for you to do the research in geriatric rehabilitation and discuss about few things. Imaging trends in geriatric care. The key imaging trends in the areas of the research in geriatric physical therapy includes development of a personalized exercise program using machine learning, artificial intelligence. As you know, AI is the new thing in the market. So with the help of the AI, you can create more personalized, more tailored exercise programs for the geriatric population. You just have to put the prompts and the AI will do the job. Second, integration of the wearable devices and sensor technologies into care planning. So basically, if you feel that your geriatric person is staying in a community-based place, so what you can do is in all the geriatric population, you can put a wearable device and keep tracking all the geriatric people's status of their walking, their heart rate, their sleeping time, everything in one monitor. So that is what wearable devices and sensor technologies work. Investigations of the effect of the VR, which is a visual rehabilitation, and other technologies on the cognitive and the motor function. As you know, with the geriatric population, dementia, Alzheimer's, other major problems, even stroke, where the cognitive functions can be altered. So, with the help of visual rehabilitation, auditory rehabilitation, and other game-based rehabilitation can be introduced in such population. Last is examination of the role of the social determinants of the health in shaping the geriatric health outcomes. So with the help of the social surroundings or the environment or the different people who are working for the geriatric health, you can describe or you can make some outcome measures which are very applicable to the geriatric population. Is everybody understand what do you mean by imaging trends in geriatric care?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now I'm going to focus on few important current research findings. So currently in this research, I have taken the articles from 2025 till 2022. So these are the recent articles. Anything which is less than 5 years is a recent article. Okay. So I will be discussing the topic, what was there inside the research and the results and the findings. So I've just given 5 examples. There are many articles which are available according to the population, what you want. It could be stroke, it could be Alzheimer's, could be dementia, could be physical activity, could be heart failures, anything. You can choose the topic. So study 1. So can anyone read study 1 for me, please? Anyone?
Geriatric and
Geriatric
gerontological.
Okay, we'll start
Apollo.
with Farzana first and then we'll go for other people.
Geriatric and gerontological physiotherapy in focus. A cross-sectional survey of education, clinical practice, and service availability across world physiotherapy member nations.
What do you mean by this topic? Can you just read and explain me the topic? That's all. And everyone here.
So this is like a cross-sectional study, regarding the geriatric population, and also the survey of the education, clinical practice, and service availability, which means what are the things which is available to that population across the world.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so in the study, it was done in 2025. I've given all the references in the last slide. So in this, they are basically in this research, they want to understand that how much geriatric population physiotherapy or the gerontological physiotherapy is practiced across the physiotherapy nations or physiotherapy member nations. Okay, so they want to understand what is the trend of the geriatric physiotherapy practice. So in this study, they have focused on what is the practice, how is the practice, and does the practice needs to be improved. So the global population of the individuals above 65 years and the older will increase from 800 millions to approximately 2 billion people, which happens to be 22% of the world population. Imagine that the 22% of the world population, the age group is above 65. It means their health is important. Something or some program has to be created so that the geriatric physical therapy, geriatric problems are addressed. A geriatric physiotherapy is a board certified physiotherapist with a well-defined core competency who has received specialized training to provide person-centered, evidence-based, non-ageist, holistic assessment to care to the older adults, including prevention, treatment, rehabilitation with the T. Everybody is with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Discrepancy in the geriatric or the gerontological physiotherapy education and practice have hindered the global census on the core competency profile of physiotherapists who specialize in providing the care to the older adults. This study aimed to explore the current state. So as I already mentioned, this study wants to understand the availability, the scope, and what things are there in the geriatric physiotherapy across the world in their physiotherapy member nations to understand the factors such as socioeconomic indicators which influence the physiotherapy globally. So in this research, the study suggested that it significantly found many gaps. So as we know, every physiotherapy topic, it could be musculoskeletal, stroke, cardiorespiratory or geriatric, everywhere there is a little gap in the delivery or in the practice. So most widely practices musculoskeletal condition, but for geriatric rehabilitation, there were significant gaps which were found in the member nations because the academic program. So in the academic program, geriatric physical therapy was not properly included. It was very less in the low and the middle income countries. So low and the middle income countries, specifically India comes as a middle income country. So in India also, there is no more understanding about geriatric rehabilitation or as a different topic, it is not taught to you in the undergraduation. It is always clubbed up with the community-based rehabilitation. Despite of the growing market in the geriatric care, there are different countries who offer structured geriatric content in the entry level and graduate physiotherapy programs. And also in this study, they also highlighted that there are very less certified geriatric physical therapists which are available, which are specifically more designed as a physiotherapist for such population. So everybody clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So first article, we understood what was the scope availability of the geriatric physical therapy all across the world physiotherapy member nations. And in this, we understood there is a gap in the practice, in the academic programs, and also the socio-economic status according to the country where it has been practiced. The study 2. So, Dr. Kaur, can you read study 2?
Review of current trends in geriatric physiotherapy in the critical care setting, intensive care unit frailty assessments, and implications for critical physiotherapy practice.
So, what do you understand by this study? This
Ma'am, it is all about the trends in geriatric people in the critical care that are more critical or who have more diseases and who are more prone to the diseases like high BP and other uh, a multi-diseased. It is for multi-diseased, or we can say who are majorly on more high risk people
eh,
who are ICU related and who need more care, like regular assessments for the vitals and other things who had to be taken care of.
anyone else?
Ma'am, it's about the geriatric population. I mean, regarding the physiotherapy in the critical care unit, for example, mainly the assessment of frailty assessment. How many patients are comes under frail? So, and how physiotherapy is actually help to get them out.
Perfect. Very perfectly explained, Dr. Kaur, as well as Farzana. Excuse me. So, as we know, what is frail? We have discussed before. Frails means anything which is weak. With a geriatric person, when the old age people, are admitted inside the hospital, already there is a lot of comorbidities. When they're admitted in ICU, because of the constant bed rest, there is a lot of disuse dystrophy, muscle weakness, and also organs go for less functioning, because of which the overall frailty score of the patient can increase. So, frailty is a major risk factor as an outcome when a person is admitted into critical care. Okay. Now, as a physiotherapist job, we have to make the patient more mobile. We need to maintain the strength and we need to make sure that the patient comes out of the ICU healthy, because there is something called as post ICU weakness. Okay. So if the patient is very frail, you need to start early mobilization, early rehabilitation, so that the patient's comorbidity, patient's prognosis doesn't go down. So there is something called as clinical frailty scale and the Fried frailty phenotype scale. These are the two most common scales which are used in ICU, specifically in a frail population. In this frailty assessment, we usually see the weight loss, the low physical activity, slowness, grip strength, weakness, fatigue to determine the frailty. When all these things are measured, we will understand whether how frail the person is. Therefore, it is very important for a physiotherapist to develop an ICU specific frailty scale, which helps you to make the physiotherapy interventions better and also to make the prognosis of the patient better. Imagine the patient is not able to clench the fingers or not able to move the hands. It means that the blood circulation is lost, the muscle weakness is more, and also the overall patient's physical activities going down. So with the help of the ICU frailty scales, you will understand which component is affected. If you understand the components which are affected, you can easily start with the physiotherapy intervention. So can anybody tell me if the person has a weight loss, patient is very weak and fatigued, what treatment strategy you can use in the ICU? Anyone?
Energy conservation techniques.
ICU में energy क्यों conserve करना है? मतलब anyway, your patient is not doing anything. The patient is weak and fatigued.
But then any position that he's holding on to where he's having breathlessness or something, we can avoid that.
Okay.
What
Exercise
about
strategy.
Bed
breathing
mobility
exercise?
exercises.
Okay, breathing exercise. Okay, fine. Anything more?
Bed
Now
mobility
we can
exercises.
start with the passive or active assisted exercises, isometric exercises, bridging exercises, slow mobility, in bed mobility, or different positions, arm exercises, shoulder, legs, calf exercises, foot exercises, everything. I mean, we have so many exercises to do without the patient being exerted too much or causing fatigue. We can use a lot of exercises and activities in the ICU as well.
So as I think everyone has correctly mentioned, the thing what I mentioned that if the old age individual who is weak has a lot of weight loss and feels very fatigued, you need to start doing exercises for them. So when you know the patient is very weak and there's a lot of weight loss and there's fatigue, always start with basic isometrics at least. In bed isometric exercises, in bed breathing exercises, in bed turning inside the bed, bridging exercises will help to activate the muscles. Eventually, with the help of the caretakers inside the ICU and also the permission from the intensivist, you can start with bed mobility exercises also. Somebody correctly mentioned about bed mobility exercises. So bed mobility exercises like turning inside the bed, sitting, in bed shoulder movement, active range of exercises. You can also start with in bed cycling also. So there are many articles which are available to promote in bed cycling in ICU patients. Okay, so make sure that you use all these techniques. And if you feel the patient is able to stand, you can also use walkers. You can also use toddlers where the entire elbow is fixed. And you can take 2-3 people support to make the patient mobilize. Everybody clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. Prithvi, could you please read the third article for me and explain?
Improving mobility in older adults, advances in geriatric physical therapy. This review explores the latest advancement in geriatric physical therapy that are shaping the future of mobility enhancement for older adults. Mobility encompasses a range of activities from walking, climbing stairs, to the ability to perform daily tasks. Independence mobility allows older adults to engage in daily activities without relying on caregivers. Physical health regularly move Physical health, regular movement help combat the effect of aging, including muscle atrophy and cardiovascular decline. Tai Chi for balance training, wearable device for better tracking, telehealth and visual therapy for better adherence to exercise, dance and balloon therapy, and community-based rehab. Ma'am, what I inferred from this slide is that regular movement and avoiding long periods of immobilization or um, any without doing any activities or anything, we can prevent conditions like muscle atrophy and deconditioning. And also, they have also mentioned about various wearable devices which help in which help in tracking the parameters as well, along with visual therapy like dance and balloon training. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, very correctly mentioned by Dr. Prithvi. So in this, they have specifically in this review, they have spoken on different techniques to improve the mobility. So yes, there is basic exercises, walking, climbing, but after a point they get boring. So you need to involve different ways to improve the mobility in such the older individuals, where you can focus on more group training with Tai Chi. Tai Chi is basically, it's a Chinese form of exercise where there is training every movement with the slowing of the movement and also focusing on the balance. So wearable devices can be shown. So if you feel that you are making them do aerobic exercise, you can ask the patient to start the aerobic training on their watches and see how much calorie they have burned, how much steps they have done. Okay. If you feel the patient has balance issues, stroke is there, Parkinson's is there, you can also use iPads. You can make them stand on the movable plates where the iPad is there and they feel that they are moving and they are trying to balance. Dance and balloon training will also help to improve the dual tasking techniques in the community-based rehabilitation, and also you can go single day rehabilitation. So movement is the key. Everybody feels that they have fall, they have a fracture, they can't move, they can't do anything. But no, early mobilization with the help of the allowance from the surgeons and the doctors, then only you can start with the exercises. If you feel the patient is better, focus on isometrics. Focus on more upper limb training, focus on more lower limb training, and you can do that mobility exercises to improve the strength. Clear?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So, Dr. Hemant, can you please read this?
Yes, ma'am. Effects of Vivi-Frail multi-component intervention on functional capacity, uh, a multi-center randomized control trial 2022 to assess the effect of Vivi-Frail exercise intervention for functional capacity, cognition, and well-being status in community-dwelling older adults. They developed an innovative multi-component exercise training program termed ViviFrail, which is based on promoting exercise in older population through individualized programs designed to prescribe tailored physical exercise. The ViviFrail exercise training program is an effective and safe therapy for improving functional capacity in community dwelling pre-frail older patients with mild cognitive impairment or mild dementia, and also seems to have beneficial effects on cognition, muscle function, and mood status.
Amazing. So, can you explain what did you understand with this study?
They developed an innovative multi-component exercise training program called ViviFrail, um, which promotes exercise in older population. The programs are quite individualized, designed to prescribe physical exercise what the older frail population or pre-frail population needs. It improves cognition, muscle function, and mood status as well. So, in pre-frail or frail older patients, they developed a exercise program or exercise regime to help with everything, with cognition, with psychological stabilization, and physical well-being as well.
Perfect, very nice. So basically, this study tells us that there is a scale, or there's not a scale. It's a multi-component exercise program, which is very frail. In this exercise program, they have include strength training, balance training. They have include cognitive exercises, stretching exercises, aerobic and endurance exercises. This exercise they have given for a certain amount of time to one older group of adults, and one adult group was a control group. Okay, so in this they have seen that in the people who are staying in the community, where specifically the old age homes, where these frail patients have shown the better improvement towards the cognitive levels, the muscle functions, and the mood status. So if you feel that you're going somewhere in the old age rehabilitation centers, or you have 4 or 5 geriatric rehabilitation people, so you can use this ViviFrail as a multi-component exercise program, where you can put or implement this program in such patients and see how improvement can happen. Everyone clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
the program actually includes? What kind of exercises?
What?
Um, so ViviFrail is like a multi-component exercise training program. So
Yes.
what are all the components is actually
Yeah,
there?
so as I already mentioned, the components what they have included is balance training, cognitive training, strength training, aerobic and endurance training, and stretching exercises. So in that, there were different exercises which they have made the patient do with a certain set of repetition and with a certain duration. And in the link is there, the vivifrail.com resources. You'll find the entire multi-component rehabilitation program word to word, which you can use it.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So, can anyone read the last article? Akriti, Dr. Akriti, can you please read? Okay. Unnati, Dr. Unnati, can you please read this?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Study 5. Combine effects of virtual reality techniques and motor imagery on balance, motor functions, and activities of daily living in patients with Parkinson's disease, a randomized controlled trial in 2022. Parkinson's disease is the second most prevalent neurodegenerative disorder, impairing balance and motor function. Virtuality and motor imagery imaging techniques for rehabilitating people with PD, both of them together wasn't studied. VR balance games were played. Each exercise sessions included 2 games for dynamic balance and 1 for targeted improvements in static balance. Based on the level of difficulty, exercise was selected and the difficulty level was gradually increased according to the patient's performance. The study found that combining VR and MI techniques with PT treatment produced a clinically significant effect on motor functions, balance, and ADLs, which lasted longer in PD patients compared with PT treatment alone.
So can you explain what did you understand?
So in this, it says that with this latest technology of virtual reality and motor imaginary techniques, we can improve Parkinson patients along with physiotherapy treatment in a significant way so that the effect will be long lasting and the symptoms will be delayed.
What is motor imagery? Can anyone
Uh,
explain what is VR and motor imagery? Anyone?
Ma'am, we are
Ma'am,
Yeah. Yes.
and motor
Abel.
imagery is
Okay,
your
anyone
voice is
else?
cutting off.
ma'am, motor imagery technique is a type of technique where we ask the patient to imagine a certain scenario. Like I've applied this on stroke patients who have like usually not able to completely lift their arm, but when I ask them to like to imagine to lift a bottle or to open a door, at least the part in the brain where the motor impulse are generated, at least that will be stimulated. So if I'm not wrong, that is what motor imagery technique is.
Perfect. And what about VR?
And virtual reality is like there are these tools like headsets or something that when we give to the patients, we can make them visualize stimulations of lifting a bottle or like opening a door or maybe balance exercise and all.
Perfect. Did everyone understand? First of all, what is motor imagery and virtual reality?
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. So in this article, they usually tell that visual reality has been practiced since more than 6-7 years. But motor imagery is a very new component which has not been practiced. And before practicing it, we need to understand and we need to practice on our own. It's very difficult. People who don't have a good cognitive status, it is very difficult for them to understand what is motor imagery. So please make sure to take a patient who has a good cognitive levels when you want to practice motor imagery. Okay. So in this article, they have created few exercise session where there's a mixture of motor imagery, visual rehabilitation, and basic physiotherapy treatment in Parkinson's together. And there's a control group. And when the results were found out, they were showing a very excellent and clinically significant result in patients where visual reality and the motor imagery was coming into contact, because cognitive functions work better. Functional works better when there is a visual which is there. And when there is vision, it is easier for them to do the exercises better. Clear? Any difficulty? So there are many articles which are available in the market. The prompts which are used in PubMed was imaging trends, recent research, geriatric rehabilitation, physiotherapy, physical therapy. These are the main prompts which are used. And according to that, I have taken the top 5 good articles for you to understand. So you can also go and search on the PubMed all these details. Okay. So innovative technologies and treatments. The integration of technology in geriatric rehabilitation has opened new avenues for improving patient outcomes, enhancing the delivery of care. Some of the key imaging technologies in this field were wearable devices, their application, virtual reality and its potential benefits, telehealth and its role in expanding access, interdisciplinary collaboration, and patient-centered care. First, we are going to understand about wearable device and the application. So these are the innovative technologies which have come into market specifically for the geriatric population. Wearable devices have become increasingly popular in the geriatric physical therapy due to ability to track the patient's activity, monitor their vital signs, and provide the real-time feedback. This can include tracking the physical activity and mobility patterns, monitor the fall risk and detect the falls, provide personalized exercise programs and the feedback, enhance patients' engagement and motivation. Examples of the wearable devices in geriatric physical therapy could be fitness trackers, smart shoes, wearable centers, and these devices can be used in various settings like clinics, hospitals, home-based care, and community-based care. Everyone clear with wearable devices?
Yes, ma'am.
So how do I use in my patients? So what happens is, if I want a ONE patient, 70-year-old ONE patient to start walking, they don't know how they're walking, how much they're walking. So I usually ask them to download any step counter in the phone or wear a smartwatch to track their heart rate and also to track the step counts. So with such basic information also, you can start using these techniques to inculcate in the patient because this helps to improve their cognitive power. It will make them more independent to see how they are moving. Okay, they will use their own brains to open the app to see how much they're walking, to use the smartwatch. So there are dual benefits when you give such devices. Always check the cognitive levels before prescribing such wearable devices. Virtual reality and the potential benefits. VR technology has shown promising result in geriatric rehabilitation, particularly in improving cognitive function, balance, mobility. VR can be used to enhance cognitive training and rehabilitation, improve the balance and reduce the fall, increase patient engagement and motivation, provide immersive and interactive therapy experiences. Research has also demonstrated effectiveness of virtual reality in improving the functional outcomes in older adults, including those with dementia and stroke survivors. So as we have already seen one of the articles before of virtual reality of Parkinson's in Parkinson's patients. So virtual reality can be used in any patients who have balance issues. It could be because of normal balance problem. It could be because of OA balance. It could be because of BPPV, could be because of Parkinson's, stroke, or cerebral ataxia. So virtual rehabilitation, there are ready-made exercises which are available, which you just have to install in your computer, connect with the VR machine, and you can make them do the exercises according to the level of the condition and also their strength. Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Telehealth or telerehabilitation. It is emerging in the market a lot because nowadays accessibility is a problem. Nowadays in abroad, they don't get appointments so fast. So telerehabilitation is a key to every problem. Telerehabilitation has emerged as a vital component in COVID-19 and also an important component in geriatric rehabilitation to reach to the patients who are remotely, who are staying alone, where they cannot come to the clinic or the community-based setup, so that they can easily connect and do the exercises. Telehealth can be used to conduct remote consultations and assessment, provide virtual therapy sessions and monitoring their vitals, enhance the patient's education and engagement in the exercises, reduce the healthcare cost and improve the efficiency. In the COVID-19 pandemic, telerehabilitation has accelerated in the geriatric care and it also helps to improve the access and outcomes in the population. As you know, in COVID-19, we used to avoid the old age and the child age population to go out. And they need constant hospital care and they need constant doctor care. So with the tele-rehabilitation, with the easy appointment scheduling, with the Zoom call, WhatsApp calls, or Microsoft calls, it was very easy for them to comply to the treatment and follow the exercises. But please always check the condition of the patient. If you feel the patient is a high risk or who has severe heart failure or who has myocardial infarction which is not settled or who has any other difficulties, please make sure to tell them to go to the nearby hospital rather than doing online. Because if you do some exercise and the person sudden has increase in heart rate and there is nobody to monitor and they don't know anything, it can be fatal. So every imaging trend or online thing has pros and cons. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Interdisciplinary collaboration and patient-centered care. Effective geriatric rehabilitation requires collaborative and patient-centered approach involving multiple healthcare professionals as a stakeholders. Key aspects for the approach are collaboration of physical therapists, occupational therapists, healthcare professionals, integration of the medical, social, environmental factors into care planning, development of comprehensive and individualized care plans. Research has shown interdisciplinary and collaboration techniques or care has improved the patient's outcome, reduced the hospitalization, readmission, enhanced the overall quality of life. So treatment is not only just done by physiotherapists, it is done by the medical professionals, also any occupational therapist or social workers or family members or the caregivers. If everyone comes together as a treatment, whole and soul treatment, it will work better for the geriatric population. In older times, only one person used to treat one patient. But nowadays, all the healthcare professionals are coming together, creating a holistic approach for the patient to make the quality of life and the treatment more easy and make it more better for them. Clear?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the future directions in a geriatric care? So if you are interested into doing any geriatric research, you need to consider these future scopes and do some research in that. Future development in geriatric rehabilitation technologies are likely to be shaped by advances in fields such as artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology. There are few potential future developments which can include development of exoskeletal and other wearable robots to enhance the mobility and the function, integration of the brain-computer interference and the neurotechnologies into the rehabilitation, use of 3D printing and other bioprinting technologies to create a personalized prosthetic and implants, development of virtual and the augmented reality platforms for geriatric rehabilitation. So these are the new future directions for the care. If you are interested into geriatric rehabilitation, you need to focus on such topics. Clear? Any difficulties?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So these are my references where you can find whatever I've spoken. These are all research-based evidences which you can do, share, see, and learn. There are many available more inside the PubMed articles which you can use and learn about it. Any online magazines would you recommend for physiotherapy practice? Online magazine, Physio Times is one of the magazines, and there is one magazine which is run by the World Physiotherapy Association. I don't remember the name, but I'll come back to you about the name. Anything else? Okay. Any more difficulties, anyone? Okay, thank you so much. I have told you my prompts. You can go on PubMed, Scopus, or any other website where you want to find the articles and the journals. There are many geriatric population-based physical therapy journals where you will find more data. And these are the important ones which I felt can be understood and I have included. You can go and read more about it. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank-
ma'am.
Thank you.